so far succeeding in limiting our access to exercise our constitutional right.
It's not a constitutional right. By the way, these are the same people who don't believe in the constitutional right to keep and bear arms, which actually is a constitutional right. Right next to number one, which includes, by the way, freedom of speech, which you also don't believe in. You're stepping over rights to grab ones that don't exist. Like, freedom of speech, let's move that over here. Right to bear arms. I don't really like it because David Hogg was in a Michael Moore film. 14th Amendment, right to privacy, therefore you can have an abortion at 32 weeks, says Elizabeth Warren. This one I'm pretty confident on. So this has been trending for 2 days now. And, of course, Georgia and Alabama. There's been so much misinformation out there. Yes. It really has been driving me nuts. And I don't just want to say, oh, it's driving me crazy. It's wrong. I want to let you know as to why it's incorrect. And I want to know what, I guess, intellectual fallacies you've seen most out there. So here are a couple of claims that I've seen most. One of them, let's go right off the bat. They've been claiming everywhere, by the way. And AOC kind of claimed it, but it was people said they misinterpreted her tweet. I don't know. I'll give it to her borderline. You don't need AOC on this one because everyone else has been saying that these laws constitute jailing women for murder.
If a Georgia resident plans to travel elsewhere to obtain an abortion, when she comes back, she could face 10 years imprisonment.
Don't you?
Meaning abortions
don't you love how one said 10 and one said 30?
In prison.
Whom are you going to imprison? Every woman who's had a fertilized egg pass through her?
No, you just.
I don't know, Mr. the mechanical engineer guy.
That's awesome.
But specifically because they've thrown in Georgia and Alabama, but they both specifically criminalize the act of performing the abortion outside of the listed parameters. Exactly. They very clearly express banning it's the person who's performing the abortion, which brings us actually to their subsequent claim that the Georgia bill they claim has loose language that could maybe lead to the prosecution of women who take an abortion pill or who travel to other states or who even miscarry. This is one we've been hearing a lot. Miscarriage under these laws.
How stupid is that?
Well, here's the thing, and I've been doing a lot of research since 4 a.m. There've only been 2 recorded incidents of women being charged with any kind of crime associated with their abortion. Okay, one was in 1911 and one was in 1922. Unless I'm wrong about this, throughout the entire history of Anglo-American Western law, only one woman was ever charged with the crime of self-abortion. That specific crime, 1599. You have to go back to the 1500s. No woman ever in the history of modern Western law, as far as I know, let me know if I'm wrong, has been charged with a crime for miscarrying.
Yeah.
I've not seen it. Do you know if again? 1599, one time. At one point he was, well, you know what, maybe before Roe v. Wade, people weren't being locked in a slammer because they were taking a pill. That's not what was happening. By the way, hit the notification bell. Some Midwesterners love that hockey reference. Bookmark the page because notification bells don't mean a whole lot if you're subscribed. Of course, join Mug Club and iTunes. Leave a review rating there. Here's another thing, too, that people have been saying, that it's just right-wing extremism and that it's completely unprecedented. That's actually from Salon. They actually wrote about how they will try to put you in jail for This is something I think people don't understand. We have pretty liberal laws regarding abortion. The majority of European countries actually have abortion bans after 12 weeks, and a lot of them require a waiting period after consulting with a doctor. I don't understand this. I don't understand this, though, either. At least it's intellectually consistent for these people who say abortion, period, on demand, no questions asked, because to me, either it's a tragedy or why should it be rare? Exactly. Who cares? Why would you want it to be? Does anyone want pap smears to be rare?
Nope.
No. Does anyone want doctor checkups to be rare? No. Does anyone want people removing swollen tonsils to be rare? No. So I don't. Either it's a tragedy or who cares whether it's rare. So I'm glad that at least right now we're having this conversation openly and honestly. Another claim that this is a big fear-mongering claim from the left, and it's not entirely, by the way, unfounded, that this is going to 100% lead to the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
Setting up a potential showdown in the highest court of the land.
Alabama's new abortion law, the strictest in our country, is setting up a direct challenge to Roe versus Wade.
Donald Trump said in the third debate with Hillary Clinton, if I get 2 or more appointments to the Supreme Court, automatically, that's the word he used, automatically Roe v. Wade will be overturned. And I think the president was exactly right. Roe v. Wade
not according
is
to Kavanaugh.
gone, and every woman in Alabama who gets pregnant is going to be forced to give birth soon.
Okay. So here's the thing. It could. Some people would like to see it overturned.
Yeah.
Probably a lot in Alabama. Well, we know for a fact, yes, a lot in Alabama. That's a separate issue from the argument. There's a few common misconceptions about Roe v. Wade and what would happen if it were overturned. Okay. All states place restrictions, or most states place restrictions, regulations on abortions outside of the federal purview. Texas, they wanted to ban abortion after 20 weeks, which Elizabeth Warren famously opposed because she's a moral lady. Everyone has the hill they're willing to die on. What's yours? The hill littered with dead babies. Yeah, it's the dying hill. That's why I thought it was most appropriate. The hill I want to die on is the dying hill. Colorado, 34 weeks. Virginia, 25 weeks. And these laws often make it, Bill, you probably know about this, half-Asian Bill, they make it to higher courts. Yeah, so there's truth to that.
Yeah, they do. I mean, the case itself allows to have different restrictions based on the trimesters. That was the kind of fundamental, practical application of it. And so we have always, since Roe versus Wade, had limitations. And really, again, I think it goes back to your point, which is where if you really do think it's as easy as clipping a nail and it's as morally irrelevant as clipping a fingernail, then you should just be, you're probably more consistent to just say it should be allowed always.
Right.
And in these other states, essentially to say, that Roe versus Wade may be challenged. Well, Roe versus Wade is a very complex opinion that sets different types of restrictions at different trimesters. And it also has a certain basis in the 14th Amendment, the right to privacy. And so you can maybe parse some of those.
Can you explain that? Because that's something a lot of people don't know. They think that Roe v. Wade says there's a constitutional right to abortion. And they think in the Constitution, there's some interpreted right to abortion.
So what the 14th Amendment, which was the basis of the opinion, is saying that, yes, here you have the Constitution through the Bill of Rights, which says, or rather through an amendment, it wasn't in the Bill of Rights, but to say you can have a right of privacy, which that word isn't actually there, but it's interpreted as one of the rights that are broadly enumerated in the 14th Amendment. And then from that derivative right to privacy, you then have a further derivative, subderivative right that says that your body and being able, what you are going to do with your body. So, and I think intellectually, like at a very high level, a lot of people wouldn't understand. I mean, there's a lot of, libertarian fans of the show who would say your right to privacy allows you to put in your body whatever you want, or to be able to do with your body whatever you want. So it's not like that entire spectrum of argument.
No, and by the way, I think that's a valid argument. I think libertarians, you say, not only do I think pot should be legal, but I think someone should be able to shoot heroin in their house if they want to. I think it's very hard to argue against that constitutionally. And it's a compelling argument.
But the difference becomes when, for example, you have a different heartbeat.
Right.
Yeah, you're hurting
someone else in there, and where you draw a line, again, under the libertarian philosophy, you would draw a line where you're hurting someone else and those types of things. Yeah. And that's where you even on the question of what you have a right to privacy for, your right to privacy doesn't extend to what you can do to other people.
It's a really, really loose knot tied there. And even Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who's likely dead, admitted that Roe v. Wade is a byproduct of, quote, heavy judicial interventionism. That's what she said. Okay, so I want to make sure that people understand.
Her own words.
Yes, and she's dead.
This is Weekend at Bernie's all over again.
It's just Weekend at Ginsburg.
Whatever you want.
Part 3.
This is another claim too. This is more so a generalized claim we hear about abortion a lot, but they have been banging on all cylinders when it comes to this one here. So these two laws specifically, that this is about regulating a woman's body. There's no law like this against men.
Democratic woman in the legislature tried to fight back. State Senator Vivian Figures introduced an amendment to make vasectomies a felony, noting that there are no laws regulating what a man can do with his body.
That's screech.
Who are you to tell me what to do with my body? It's my decision. It's not yours.
Wait, hold on a second. Men could have no say, none, in what women do with their bodies? So you want to undo Roe v. Wade? Who was filling the court, sweetheart? You want to lose the right to vote? Because who gave you that one? Many of you didn't even want it. You didn't want bucket duty in the draft.
That's true.
By the way, there are plenty of laws like this that apply to men. Here's actually something. Let me ask you this. Can you name me, genuinely, a comparable instance where it doesn't? So they compare vasectomy, right, to the heartbeat bill. Vasectomy, it's your appendage. It's your DNA. You can do what you want with your body. Just as, by the way, no one out there cares about you getting your tubes tied. No one out there cares about getting a pap smear. This one leftist was tweeting on Twitter like, so now we're going to have laws about men are going to decide what we do with their pap smears how often. Well, hold on a second. Why do you think it is that none of us care about any of those things? Because a vasectomy is not ending a heartbeat. By the way, not yours, another heartbeat. So let me ask you this. If we all acknowledge when we're talking about a heartbeat bill, okay, that you're stopping a heartbeat, and it's not the mom's heartbeat. The mom doesn't have two hearts. She's not a medical marvel. At least most of them, right?
Well, I would think
Dr. Ben Carson isn't having to come in and separate all of them. So my question to you is, if you're ending a heartbeat, whose heartbeat are you ending? Yeah. And can you point me to any instance Any example where a man can legally stop the heartbeat of another human being, innocent, nonviolent, let's not get into war here. Can you name me any example? More importantly, can you name me one example that would allow men to do that exclusively? Meaning men would be allowed to stop someone else's heartbeat and women wouldn't be. That's the only way that your argument holds water. Here's something else that I genuinely am curious to hear people's opinions on, because I asked my wife this the other night. Women out there, can you think of, I mean, I'm sure women from a long time ago can say, sure, because if I spoke out, my husband gave me a fresh one. I understand that, right? The Wonder Bread era. Let's talk about today. Can you think of any issue today where as a woman you are told you're not allowed to have an opinion exclusively because you're a woman? If we're going to say, oh, if it were vasectomies, men could do it. Well, hold on a second. No, men are not allowed to stop another human being's heartbeat in any instance. The only people who are allowed to do that are women. It's an exception to the rule. The only exception where it's permissible to end another autonomous being's heartbeat is for women. So let me ask you on the flip side, are you ever told as a woman that you cannot hold an opinion or you are not entitled to an opinion exclusively because you are a woman? Women who are watching, listening, let me know. I can't think of any. They're claiming that these bills would imprison mothers. They won't. These bills are completely unprecedented. They're not. These bills don't take into account the health of the mother. They do. This is the start of overturning Roe v. Wade. Well, not exactly, but potentially that's a conversation we may have. But let me ask you this. What if none of this matters? What if these states, to people here who are upset about these bills, particularly like the Elizabeth Warrens of the world, Kamala Harris, the entire DNC platform, by the way, of course. There's no intellectual diversity there at all. What if these states, let's say Georgia, Alabama, had passed an abortion bill, that made exceptions for rape and incest and the life of the mother? They already make that exception. And they banned abortion at only 12 weeks, requiring a 5-day waiting period. Would liberals support it? Do you think they'd support it then? Or do you think you guys would protest it?
She and her husband did what they thought was best for their baby girl. They got an abortion in the 3rd trimester. Reproductive rights are about health. They are about safety.
This is an existential fight for the right and liberty to control your own body.
Abortion cannot just be theoretically legal. It has to be literally accessible.
Yeah, I feel like it's a basic human right that nobody gets to use your body without your consent.
I had an abortion last year.
That's
it
real
was an
funny.
incredibly
What about jamming
positive
forceps in
experience
it?
for me because I didn't want to become a mother.
It is a normal part of women's medical lives. So far, succeeding in limiting our access to exercise our constitutional right.
It's not a constitutional right. By the way, these are the same people who don't believe in the constitutional right to keep and bear arms, which actually is a constitutional right.
It's actually spelled out.
When we're talking about amendments, it's number 2, right next to number 1, which includes, by the way, freedom of speech, which you also don't believe in. So you're literally stepping, you've heard of stepping over dollars to pick up pennies? You're stepping over rights to grab ones that don't exist. Like, freedom of speech, let's move that over here, right to bear arms. I don't really like it because David Hogg was in a Michael Moore film. 14th Amendment, right to privacy, therefore you can have an abortion at 32 weeks, says Elizabeth Warren. This one I'm pretty confident on.
Oh my gosh.
It really is absolutely remarkable to me. And by the way, I want to make sure that I'm clear that context of the first Elizabeth Warren clip. She was talking about parents who had a late-term abortion because the baby was going to have a congenital, I believe, a heart defect.
Yeah.
So I don't want to be accused of taking her out of context. Here's the thing. It doesn't matter. That's not why she was opposing a 20-week abortion ban. You need to understand this, okay? If they say, well, hold on a second, we need exceptions on this. There's no exception for rape or incest. All right, hold on a second. You're against a 20-week ban. So how about on the flip side? Would you only extend the abortion beyond 20 weeks in cases of rape, incest, or, for example, a congenital heart defect, serious birth defects, the health of the mother? That's not what Elizabeth Warren proposed.
No, not at all.
They don't make those exceptions. You can't have it on one side of the coin and not on the other. It really is remarkable to me. And again, the intellectual consistency.
Yeah.
Who cares? Why should it be rare?
Exactly. You should be able to do
if it doesn't mean anything. And also the fear-mongering that really bothers me. You hear the right accused of fear-mongering quite a bit, where the right fear-mongers, they want it's based on fear. Well, let's be honest. What do conservatives fear-monger on? Okay? Terrorism, socialism. You know what? Okay, 9/11, Arab Spring, ISIS. You know what? Socialism, Venezuela. How long? Instead of fear-mongering, I call that a heads-up.
Sounding the alarm a little bit for you.
You look at the left's fear-mongering. What is it? Climate change? Polar ice caps were supposed to be gone, by the way. The entire world was supposed to be in famine aside from North America and parts of Europe.
11 years, 8 months.
Florida's supposed to be gone. No more coral reef, no more fish. Not saying there's no climate change, but the catastrophes certainly haven't happened.
Right.
Abortion. If you ban abortion, you're going to be jailed for miscarrying. So whereas the right fearmongers gives you a heads up based on things that have actually happened and are currently happening across the world. The left fearmongers on things that can't be proven, never happened, they move on to the next thing. No one in this country has been regularly arrested for having abortions or for miscarrying. If you accept that wholesale, you have bought false fear-mongering. It's not even close to the truth. And at least we can correct that. We can get to the conversation of abortion at large. Hey there, if you like this video, this is the part where I would usually tell you to subscribe, but I can't do it anymore. I'm going to tell you to subscribe, and then YouTube is going to decide that we can't reach you even though you subscribe to this channel, and then I'll say hit the notification bell, and then the notification bell won't even be there anymore. I don't know what to say. More than likely you'll find my face in a milk carton. But do what you can to stop it. It probably won't do much.